ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सागणरघुनाथान्वितं सतं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सागणललिता श्रीशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्ता राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे
करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्येश्वरम्। Hare Krishna. So it's a very big task to talk about Lord Shiva. You know, Lord Shiva is a very exalted personality, and I can only speak worth like a mustard seed about him. So, and you know, we are a Krishna devotee, so I don't have exhaustive knowledge, but I will give you some taste from Srimad Bhagavatam about him, okay, and some pastimes. We'll talk about his tattva, his personality, who he is, okay. So, if you are not very sure about Shiva tattva, you will get a very more understanding about it. So, those that read Srimad Bhagavatam, you know that Lord Shiva appears in many, many chapters, many, many cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Some of the pastimes, just big ones that we were recently reading from fourth canto, was the when Daksha offends Lord Shiva, right? When Daksha blasphemes Lord Shiva, and Shiva leaves that assembly because he was very much blasphemed by Daksha, right? And then the whole pastime happens, how Mother Sati then leaves her body because she's insulted. Her husband has been insulted, so she leaves her body. The whole pastime is covered over many chapters in Srimad Bhagavatam, fourth canto. Then in eighth canto, we were recently reading in our morning readings about the churning of milk ocean. So Samudra Manthan Leela, right, where the Kshir Sagar is churned so that nectar can be obtained. But before nectar comes, the poison comes. And Lord Shiva accepts that poison in his throat. So that whole pastime is given. If time permits, and I think it will, we will read what Lord Shiva said to Mother Parvati at the time. So those are beautiful verses. Basically, all the demigods approached Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva was the only one who was capable of doing such a great service, such a wonderful, exceptional service. Nobody else was capable of that. Of course, the Supreme Lord is Narayan could, but you know, Lord Narayan, Lord Vishnu was involved in so many aspects of churning of ocean, right? He had become the kurma, he had supplied the mountain, he had recommended using the snake, so he had come as Mohini Murti. So he was involved in so many services, so many aspects of that pastime that he wanted to give this, take an opportunity to glorify Lord Shiva also, to show the status of Lord Shiva to this world. That nobody else can do this. No, none of the demigods can do this, none of the demons, no great jivas, Brahmaji, nobody can do this service of taking this poison that was going to destroy the whole cosmic creation. So Supreme Lord wanted to glorify his devotee or, Shiva. So that pastime comes over, it goes through many chapters in eighth canto. Um, Another wonderful pastime happens in fourth canto. I'm just giving you some snippets in Srimad Bhagavatam. In fourth canto, another place where Lord Shiva appears is when Prachetas. Some of you know that one of the descendants of Dhruv Maharaj, Prachina Barhi was a king. He had about 1,000 sons, and they were called Prachetas. Those Prachetas were devotees of the Lord, and they were going to do some austerities. So whenever Lord Shiva sees devotees, he's very merciful towards them. So he, out of his causeless mercy, when they were going to the banks, I think banks of Yamuna or Ganges or somewhere, and Shiva appeared to them. And that is a very beautiful chapter. If some of you are, I think, congregating tomorrow, even if you're not, on the night of Mahashivaratri, this beautiful prayers that Shiva spoke to Prachetas is sung. Okay. Does anyone know the name of those prayers? So basically, he gave some instructions to Prachetas. He glorified them because they're devotees of the Lord. But then, what would devotees want to hear? They would want to hear the glorification of Supreme Lord. So Lord Shiva glorifies in that whole chapter the Supreme Lord. Beautiful prayers, and that's called Rudra Geet. So Rudra Geet is often recited and sung. Those are Bhagavatam prayers. In the Bhagavatam meter, you can recite it. You can all sing those prayers. Beautiful prayers. And of course, in Srimad Bhagavatam, later on in 12th canto, a beautiful, very significant verse comes. Many of you may know this verse, which glorifies Lord Shiva as the greatest Vaishnava. So that verse goes like this. निम्नगनां यथा गंगा देवानां अच्युतो यथा वैष्णवानां यथा शंभु पुराणानां idam tatha. That verse is actually a glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam, but it is saying amongst Puranas, this Bhagavatam has the same standing that Shiva has amongst Vaishnavas, meaning topmost, the best, right? Exalted, very, very important, very dear to the Supreme Lord. So this is the position of Lord Shiva. He is a very unique tattva to understand. So tattva means so for example, we are jivas, right? We are jiva tattva, right? You understand there is Vishnu tattva or Bhagavad tattva, Bhagwan, there is Supreme Lord, and then all his expansions, they are Bhagavad tattva, like Narayana. There are so many Narayana expansions in spiritual world. There are Vishnu expansions, the three Purushartaras. They're all Bhagavad tattvas, right? They're very different. So different in a way that they are the Lord, we are the servant. So we are the Jiva, they are the master, they are the infinite, we are infinitesimal, right? So that is Bhagavad tattva, and we are Jeev tattva. Who is the topmost amongst Jivas? Who is the best Jiva? Lord Brahma, right? Lord Brahma is the topmost Jiva and the topmost planet of this material world. Now, Shiva is neither a Jeev Tattva, he's closer to Bhagavad Tattva. Almost, for us, he's like Bhagavad Tattva. But he's not a Jiva Tattva. What are Devi Devtas or demigods? Are they Jivas or Bhagwan? Bhagavad Tattva. They're Jiva Tattva. So Tattva basically means like property of a substance, like function or principle of something, right? So our principle is that we are Jiva, we are small spirit soul, small spirit spark, part and parcels of the Lord. And Bhagavad Tattva means the Supreme Lord himself and all his various expansions, portions, plenary portions like Krishna, Lord Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, all the incarnations, they all come under Bhagavad Tattva. But Shiva has a very special position. His position is beyond Jivas. His position is beyond Brahmaji. His position is beyond this material world. He's transcendental. He's not part of this material world. So his Kailash Dham is not part of this material world. Actually, when a soul leaves this material world, right, will you leave this universe? So we pierce through various coverings of the universe and we come out of this material world, and the first place we enter is the Kailash Dham. So soul on its journey back to Vaikuntha's or spiritual world will actually go through Kailash Dham. And Lord Shiva embraces Lord Shiva is the first person that meets them when they come out of the material world. Because so few souls are able to leave this material world that Lord Shiva embraces them with open arms that, hey, you were able to make it out, right? You were able to come out. So his position is beyond this material world. So Rudra Tattva or Shiv Tattva, Shambhu, is beyond this material world, beyond Jivas, and almost as good as Bhagwan Tattva. So in comparison with Supreme Lord, there is no difference between Krishna and Shiva. There is no difference in qualities, power. Well, I'll go into the deep. Technically, there are differences, but grossly, there are no difference in power, potency, quality, skills, mood, like that. But their function is different. Okay, we'll go into that. Now, um, so who is in this material world, who is in charge? Who is the in charge of this Prakriti? Huh? Okay. Mother Durga, right? She is directly in charge of this material world, right? This Durga means Durg. So this is the fortress of Durga Devi. This is the prison house of Durga Devi. She is the inferior energy of the Lord, right? She is the external energy of the Lord. Durga Devi, Parvati, Uma, Ambika, like that. So many Bhavani, so many names are there. You all know, right? That's why we do the we on Navratri people worship, because she's the Ma. She's our Ma. She's our mother. So she's mother of all jivas. Okay. So Lord Shiva is what? He's the father of all jivas. Okay. How does this position come about that she's being given this task of keeping the jivas under control? She's like the guard of this prison who's keeping jivas in this material world. She's the inferior energy of the Lord. And Lord Shiva is the father for all jivas. How does this happen? So this is some technical things that just so you understand how Lord Shiva comes about. Okay, what is Shiva is a person. Okay, okay. Another thing to understand is Brahma, name Brahma, is that a person or a position? It's a position. It's a post. Sun God. When we say sun God, is that a person or a position? It's a position. Who is the current person occupying that position, that post? Vivaswan. Vivaswan is the sun god currently occupying that position. Shiva, is that a person or a position? It's a person. It's not a position. Shiva is not a post that anybody can. So suppose I wanted to become Brahma. I can do certain things, a certain Ashwamedh Yagya, so many. It is said that if you follow Varnashram Dharma properly for 100 lifetimes, you can occupy the post of Brahmaji. And then when you occupy the post of Brahmaji for 100 years, something else happens like that. So one can occupy the post of sun god, one can get a post of Brahmaji or Indra by doing certain rituals, ceremonies, yagya, by pious activities and things like that. But nobody can become Shiva. Okay, because Shiva is not a post, Shiva is a person. Okay, so he's a unique individual person, that it's not a post. Okay, I'm not going into details of who Sadashiv is, who Rudra is, or who Shiva. What is the differences? There are technical differences. So just like you can understand how the differences are between Krishna or Vishnu or various expansions of Krishna, how those differences are technical. Those similarly, Shiva is also a very advanced, very intricate tattva that has different expansions like Rudra and Sadashiv and all. We will not go into that. We'll just understand we more focused on the mood of Lord Shiva, his activities, his pastimes, his exchanges with devotees and things, rather than his. I don't want to spend too much time on technicalities here. See, okay. But this point is important. So three Purusha avatars. You know Karno, Daksha, Vishnu, or Mahavishnu, right? He lays in the causal ocean, and okay. Before that, I'm sorry, because like I said, Lord Shiva is very difficult to talk about. It's not easy. So let's go back. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Aham Bij Pradapita, right? He says, Sarva Yoneshu Kaunteya Murtya Sambhavantiya Tasham Aham Mahat Yoni Aham Bij Pradapita, where I am the seed-giving father. He says that he's the cause of, so he's the seed-giving father, he's the cause of all causes, he's the original person, supreme person. But all he does in terms of creating this universe, in terms of being a seed-giving father, is as Karno Dakshay, he breathes out and breathes in. That's all he does. So Krishna is actually a Leela Purushottam Bhagwan. He's always enjoying in his abode. He's always exchanging pastimes with his devotees, right? Dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. So our Param Satya is always enjoying in the Dham. Dhamna Swain Sada Nirasta Kuhakam. So he's always enjoying in his Dham. He does not do any manual work or like groundwork, field work. Okay. You can imagine he's like the CEO of a company, let's say Amazon. He's the CEO of that Amazon, huh? And so he's not going to come to your house to deliver the parcels. So he has people, he has hired people, he has his subordinates, his representatives, his servants that will do that job of delivering the parcels, packing the parcels, delivering, keeping account of the accounts and statements and things like that. He is at the top just giving orders. So Krishna is Leela Purushottam. He just likes to do leelas or pastimes with his devotees. And then he will come here and still he will do pastimes in this world. But he stays very aloof from this material world. He does not interact too much with this material world. He does not have much contact with this material world. He says that in Bhagavad Gita also. In 9th chapter, he says, मया ततमिदं सर्वं जगद् अव्यक्तमूर्तिना मत्तस्थानि सर्वभूतानि न चाहं तेष्वस्थिता. That I created this world, but I leave it alone. He stays away from it. He leaves it alone. You do whatever you want, right? Like a king has created a prison, and the guards are managing that prison. Warden is managing that prison. He has nothing to do with their punishments and things. He has just created the law and then they can manage it, right? He's not going to directly be involved in the affair of prisoners. He's more concerned with the lawful citizens that are outside. He may interact with them. He's not going to interact so much with the prisons. Once in a while, he will visit the prison, but not interact so much. So what does he do? As Karno, Daksha, Vishnu, all these universes come out of him. Everybody knows this fact, right? Everybody knows. So what does Karno Daksha Vishnu do? There is one more thing Karno Daksha Vishnu does other than inhaling and exhaling. When he exhales, millions of universes come out of his body, and when he inhales, all the universes go back in his body. There's one more thing Karno Daksha Vishnu does. He glances and agitates the material energy. So he looks. That's the only contact Supreme Lord has with the inferior energy. He glances. So with the Maya Devi, the only contact Supreme Lord has is the glance. That glance is Lord Shiva. Okay. So that's why you see the deity of Lord Shiva is typically Shivling, right? Ling is a symbol of impregnation, right? So basically, through that glance, Lord is impregnating or causing jivas to enter into the material world. So who is that person who's directly responsible for causing jivas to enter? The glance, Lord Shiva. And that's why the Shivling. Okay. Is this part clear, right? Okay. So this is the significance of the glance. So now, if any questions, please let me know, because I know that it can be hard to understand. Yeah, everybody's good. Okay. So Shiva has, very, like we said, very special status, very special position, very fascinating qualities also. Sometimes there is a verse used in Brahma Samhita, and we can all recite that verse. This verse, actually Prabhupada quotes this verse a lot to differentiate between Krishna and Shiva, okay? To differentiate between Supreme Lord and Shiva. So we said for us, he's almost as good as Bhagavad Tattva, but not quite Supreme Lord. Still, he's exalted and worshipable, but he's not a demigod, okay? This is the verse, let's recite it. This verse clarifies what is the difference between Shiva and Krishna. So this is Brahma Samhita tune. Shiram yatha dadi vikar vishesha yoga sanjayate nahi tata prithagasti heto yasham bhutam api tatha samupeti karyat govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So the translation of this verse, this is a beautiful verse. Brahma Samhita is a very beautiful book. It glorifies many other demigods also, like Mother Parvati. It glorifies Lord Ganesha and Sun God. So, and it glorifies all the demigods and Lord Shiva and everyone in relation to the Supreme Lord. In relation, not separate from them. In relation, not independent, but in connection with Supreme Lord. This verse is saying, so Lord Shiva is considered to be like the yogurt or dahi. Dadhi. So dadhi here refers to yogurt. Yogurt is nothing but transformed milk. Nonetheless, yogurt cannot be accepted as milk. Similarly, Lord Shiva holds almost all the powers of Lord Vishnu, and he is above the qualities of the living entity. But he is not exactly like Vishnu, just as yogurt, although transformed milk, is not exactly like milk. So here in the conclusion is Krishna is compared to milk. When that milk, in that milk you add some culture. Last time everybody was collecting the yogurt, right? Mataji's famous yogurt. So how did she make that yogurt? In milk she put some culture, something that activates that milk and it turns into yogurt. Similarly, when Krishna through that glance comes in contact with inferior energy, that is milk turning into yogurt. Okay, so which means they are not very different. Milk and yogurt are not very different. Both are very fortifying, both are very nourishing, but still they have a little bit of different function. Let's say somebody has really bad diarrhea. Can you give them milk? No, but yogurt will be good. Yogurt will be good for them, right? But milk will not be good. So in this world, I love this example. In this world, we have the material disease like diarrhea. And Shiva is the person who will cure that disease. Until we fix our disease, we are not ready to accept the milk that is Krishna. So actually, you see, it is described that a lot of devotees, even in ISKCON, they used to be devotees of Shiva. A lot of people have been purified. A lot of the Lord Shiva is so exalted. He's so merciful. He's so benevolent that we are all fallen, right? We are all fallen. We are all rejects of this material world. We are in a prison house. We are prisoners. Even amongst us, there are some that are even more fallen. And Lord Shiva is the personality that accepts all those fallen people. So some of his followers, some of his devotees are like bhoot, pishach, right? Goblins, ghosts, spirits. These kind of jivas that are condemned. They have been damned because they have no good karma to their credit, and they're just wandering around this world. Demons take shelter of Lord Shiva. So the rejects of this material world go to Lord Shiva. He's that merciful. So basically, he's like the milk, and Krishna is like, sorry, he's like the yogurt, Krishna is like the milk. Now, one more point. The difference between the two is, it is a unidirectional flow. Milk can become yogurt, but yogurt cannot become milk. So Krishna can expand or can have this glance and become Shiva, or Shiva can be a separate personality, but Shiva cannot become Supreme Lord or Vishnu. Yes, Mataji, before I go on.
What is the culture?
Inferior energy, Maya Devi.
Oh.
So that is like the gross understanding. It's just a metaphor, right? So it is described. Does anyone know how many qualities? So Krishna has unlimited qualities. We know that, right? But there are certain number is given to those qualities. The most prominent qualities, yes, 64, and he has cent percent, meaning 100% of those qualities. So 64 qualities, 100% of it. How much does Vishnu tattvas or like expansions from Krishna have? How much percentage of that qualities do they have? There is a number given. So it is 93%. Okay. How much does a topmost jiva can have? Brahmaji. Brahmaji is the topmost jiva. What percentage of qualities can he have? Highest? 50%. So what percentage of qualities can Shiva have? 84%. So you see, it's not very different. It's a little bit lower than Vishnu tattvas, but it is much more than Jeev tattvas. So there is no comparison between Devi Devtas and Shiva. You understand? So very, very special status Lord Shiva has.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
And since you're telling the difference between yogurt and milk, but also we've read that I know Lord Shiva is at the high place, but all the demigods and everything come from the limbs of Vishnu. So when we say the ice is the Shiva, because
no. So you're confusing between many different concepts. So that you're talking about the universal form of the Lord. That is a material form. Keep that concept aside. That is not like that will confuse a lot. So it is a whole different thing. Universal form of Lord or Virat Roop, Vishwaroop is not to be applied here at all. That is a material form, that is a very low principle, that is used only for us. Like, it is not for us, for devotees. Bhagavatam mentions universal form many, many times because Bhagavatam is catering to different types of people. So don't get confused with that. Only remember demigods are jivas, just like us. So when that glance enters, many numerous jivas are impregnated into the material world. Okay, this point I think many people know because we discussed it recently also in our Bhagavad Gita class. So another way to understand Lord Shiva's position is that there are three guna avatars. So Vishnu expands as three guna avatars. Okay, three guna avatars means you know that this material world needs to be controlled. It is controlled by three forces or three energies: the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. We know that Satoguna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna, three energies or three ropes, you can say, are controlling each and every jiva, each and every action, each and every thing in this world is divided into these three gunas. So there are three personalities who are in charge of each of these gunas: Lord Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Okay. Lord Brahma is in charge of which mode of passion? So he prominently does the creation. Lord Vishnu is in charge of mode of goodness. So he does maintenance. Lord Shiva is in charge of ignorance, tamoguna. So he does the annihilation. So that's why all these tamasic people also take shelter of Shiva, because he has given shelter to all the, even within the realm of this material world, the lowest people, the lowest things, lowest activities, they are in charge, they are being taken control by Shiva. Shiva has given them shelter. Okay. So this is, so somebody who has to be so merciful that he is giving shelter to such tamasic people that even normal jivas like us don't want to associate with. Even we don't want to associate with bhutas and pishachas. But Lord Shiva doesn't mind. So many things. I mean, it's like, with Lord Shiva, there are so many things to mention. Now, even though this is given, please understand this Trimurti, this has been made famous. This is not given so much in our scriptures. Some places it is mentioned, but this Trimurti has been made famous more by the Britishers. Okay. Just a point to know, as somebody who's studying Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, we should know, because we say Lord Shiva is in charge of annihilation, but also remember Lord Shiva is involved in creation, because that was the glance that actually agitated the material energy and got everything started up, right? The material creation started up with Lord Shiva. So he's also in charge of creation. Is Lord Shiva in charge of maintenance also in some ways? Can somebody give an example of the topmost function he did in maintaining this world? I just mentioned that.
Hello.
Yes, right? So otherwise the world would have been destroyed then. So these Trimurti, we say Trimurti because in actually Christian tradition, there is this Trinity, right? The Holy Trinity. So in order to have some semblance of similarity with the Christian religion, we also we also started talking about Trimurti, and this concept of Trimurti became very famous at the time. It is there, but it is not the highlight, or it is like submerged within the pages of Vedas, not very prominent, because all three deities are actually doing all three functions. Okay. There are now let's talk about qualities of Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva has many contradictory qualities, seemingly contradictory qualities. Do you agree that he is, we just talked about how he's very merciful. So his another name is, since he's so merciful, he gives shelter to these rejects of this world, the demons, ghost, huh? Bholenath, because he's very simple. Okay, he's very simple. He's easily pleased. So he's called Bholenath. But the contradiction is, although he's very simple, he also tricks demons. He will give them the boons, but he will also trick them. We'll come to some pastimes where he has tricked the demons. But what is the very specific name of Lord Shiva, where he is very merciful, very benevolent? And
Ashutosh.
Ashutosh. Who said that? Somebody here. Somebody on Zoom. So Ashutosh. So he is very easily pleased. He is very merciful. We see this roop, huh? But does he get also very angry? He does get very angry also, right? You need anger to annihilate. How will you annihilate? So it is described that, in order to annihilate, in order to do any type of, like, let's say fighting in war, you have to get angry. So like when war of Mahabharat was going on, Krishna was constantly agitating Arjun. He was constantly reminding him. Do you remember what Karna did? What Karna called Draupadi? Do you remember how Duryodhan behaved? How Dushasan? So he was constantly riling up, because you need to be riled up. You cannot be like a yogi and sober, saintly person. How would you fight? So you need to be a little bit in mode of passion, and a little bit of anger is needed. So so Lord Shiva gets angry also. So he gets into this transcendental anger so that he can annihilate. But that annihilation, is that a service to the Lord, or is it may seem like, oh, he's destroying? So it's a very negative function. It's a very horrible function. But is it? It is a service to the Lord. It is needed. You need to destroy, because this is how this world is structured, that it has to be destroyed after certain times. It's a very controlled destruction. So he destroys there are two types. We have talked about this, two types of annihilation. One happens at the end of each day of Brahma, and one happens at the end of life of Brahma. He does both those destructions, both those annihilations. And he's so amazing, he's so wonderful. He dances when he does that destruction. So he's Nataraj, right? He dances so beautifully. And it's not only at the time of destruction that he dances. He's so joyful in his devotional ecstasy for the Lord that he's dancing even otherwise. Whenever he feels the devotional ecstasy by chanting the holy names of the Lord, he starts dancing. Okay, so these are some contradictions, right? He's simple, yet he can trick people. He's very merciful, yet he can get very angry also. Okay, he is. Do you agree that he's like the greatest yogi? He's the most renounced personality, very detached, Vairagi. He has no clothes on his body, even by our standards. He does not have any property, does not have any house. He lives on the snow-capped mountains, and no clothes on him, just tiger skin, and just no flower garlands, no jewelry. He just has garland of like, or snake garland, or a garland of skull and bones. Sometimes he lives in crematorium. He has ashes on his body. Typically, demigods, do they have crown on their head? But does he have crown? So that already tells you he has no ego, right? Because crown on your head means that I'm very, I'm something very important. So I do not bow down to me, because my crown will fall, right? If I bow down, huh? But Lord Shiva has instead jatai. And those jatai are sign of his. If you have gone to like Vrindavan or some, go to see these yogis have these jatai. So it is said the more austerity they do, the more jatai they have. And they contain their spiritual power in those jatai, in those matted hair. So he has that matted hair locks, right? So he's so renounced, so detached. But yet, is he a householder? He's the perfect householder. He has one wife, right? Perfect householder. All the jivas of this world are praying to him, so that the women want husband like him. So all the women, or everybody's praying to him because they want to become a perfect householder like him. So again, you see the contradiction, that he's a perfect householder, yet he is also so detached, complete yogi and renounced. Yes, Nami.
Why is Shinki always like dirty and with like ghosts and stuff? Because aren't devotees supposed to be like clean and not scared?
Not scary. So yeah, very good question. Yeah, he's always living in crematoriums, but it is described both ways. Like it is described that he's living in crematoriums. He has ashes on his body because he's, giving sanctuary to these bhoot pishachas. So maybe to invite them. I don't know. Or sometimes it is described that when he's dancing, when he walks, he has ankle bells. Okay, those ankle bells, they're not just any ankle bells. When he walks, those ankle bells play like kartal music, huh? And then all the Gandharvas, all these celestial beings actually join. So in that story of Gop Kumar, it is described how he was joined by all these Gandharvas, Kinnaras, all these high celestial beings. They play music so that Lord Shiva can dance. And even when he walks, they want to play music because his walk is so pleasant. So he may be, looking like that, but he's basically not belonging to this world. He doesn't have to follow the customs, the rules, regulations, laws of this world. Um, okay, another contradiction about him is, So he gives shelter to these type of people, these bhoot pishachas, right? There is a completely opposite class of people also he gives shelter to. Those are great yogis. So great yogis also take shelter of Lord Shiva, because does Lord Shiva give liberation? Can he? He does, but not directly, because only Mukunda can truly get you out of this material world, right? So what he does is he facilitates you to get bhakti of the Supreme Lord. He facilitates you to uh, advance towards self-realization, towards spiritual realization. So what he does is, this is very beautiful about Lord Shiva. He, just like Krishna, he will respond according to your desire. Okay. Like materialistic people, for example, Ravan wanted some boons from him. These other demons like Banasur, Vrikasur, they all wanted some things from him. So materialistic people want things of this world, and he can give the things of this world because he's the father of this world. Krishna may not give, Shiva will give. Okay, Shiva will give the things of this world. So with materialistic people, he will give the things of this world that they want. With demons, he will trick them so that they ultimately get liberated or purified either by Supreme Lord or one of Supreme Lord's devotees. Like, for example, so Ravan did that. Any other examples? Vrikasura. I'll tell you the stories also, short stories. Bhasmasura. Bhasmasura is same as this Vrikasura. Same name. In Mahabharata, very important personality that got a boon from Lord Shiva. Shalva, yes. One more personality then. Okay, so one more. Jayadratha. Jayadratha. So negative personalities that got tricked by Supreme Lord or Supreme Lord's devotees. So Jayadratha also got a boon from Lord Shiva. So Shiva will give them the boons that they want, but then he'll trick them so that they ultimately get purified or liberated by Supreme Lord or his devotees. But this is the thing that matters to us. So with demons, he will trick. With materialistic people, he'll fulfill their wishes. With devotees, with sincere spiritualists, people that want to advance on spiritual path, he will give them devotional service. Even if they don't know that that's what they want. But if you are if you are going to Shiva with the mood of getting something for yourself, like materialistic things, you will get that in a materialistic mood. But if you are going to surrender to him that please do what is best for me, please help me advance, please give me liberation, he will give you Krishna's bhakti. So this is the most important point for us to understand, that he will help us get into the path of spiritual progress, into the spiritual advancement. Okay. So this is his mercy for the devotees. So this is a verse. And the example is this beautiful verse for prachetas. So Lord Shiva said, any person who is surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, the controller of everything, material nature as well as the living entities, actually very dear to me. So here Shiva is saying to prachetas, because prachetas are Lord's devotees, Supreme Lord's devotees. So he's saying to prachetas that you are very dear to, or all the devotees are very dear to me. These verses are very beautiful to read. The 24th chapter, where he's speaking to prachetas, and the Rudra Geet comes. Rudra Geet comes right after this. Can anybody think of any other examples of devotees where so this is prachetas. Let me see. What other examples come to mind? Markandeya Rishi, yes. Yes, very wonderful. I'm trying to show the. Okay, it's not showing.
What's that last name?
Markandeya Rishi. We always discuss in Jagannath relationship. So remember, Lord Shiva came to Markandeya and showed him the path of devotional service to Supreme Lord. So basically, Markandeya. Okay, very quickly, Markandeya Rishi. You want to share, Markandeya? You want to share that first?
Markandeya was before he was born, his parents wanted a child. So then Lord Shiva asked, do you want a child who's a devotee, or do you want a child who is not a devotee? Then the parents say, we want a child who is a devotee. Then Lord Shiva says, okay, if it is a devotee, then he can die in 16 years of age. So then
I remember a different story. The story that I remember, Markandeya Rishi, is basically he was a devotee of Lord Shiva, and he asked for long life. So Lord Shiva gave him a very long life. I think few days of Brahmaji. So few days of Brahmaji means that many kalpas will pass, and during the annihilation, he's just swimming in the black waters and doesn't know what to do with himself. Huh? So he's very lonely. So he was praying to Lord Shiva, what has happened to me? And he got the darshan of Vat Patra Shai Krishna. Krishna lying on the leaf, on the betel leaf, on the palm leaf, and sucking his thumb, sucking his big toe in his mouth. So,
leg thumb.
toe, yeah, big toe in his mouth. But Patra Shai. So Markanda Rishi saw Krishna in that Bal Gopal form sucking his toe, and he said, why are you sucking your own toe? So Krishna said, I'm sucking my toe because I want to see what taste my devotees get in the nectar of my feet. They're always talking about there is some nectar in my feet, nectar in my feet. I also want to taste the nectar. So do you know what nectar there is? So at that time, Markanda Rishi got washed up on the shore somewhere, that area which is Jagannath Puri. There's Markanda Sarovar now. And Lord Shiva came to him and he said to pray to surrender his life to Supreme Lord from now on.
Yeah, the story is second.
Oh, I see.
Kalpa
Different
changed.
kalpa.
Yeah. Then Mahavishnu leave.
Right.
Then Markandeya came and discussed.
Yeah.
So this is the first story. I taught my daughter
I see.
how Markandeya, the scripture is telling how Markandeya survived.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unlimited time of birth.
The unlimited life. Yeah.
Unlimited life. Yeah.
So there are many such. So Prachetas we took, Markanda Rishi we took. Prachetas, I'm not able to share it on the screen. I'll show you the prayers that it said. So Prachetas were fortunate to see Lord Shiva emerging from the water with his associates. His bodily luster was just like molten gold. His throat was bluish. He had 3 eyes, which looked very mercifully upon his devotees. He was accompanied by many musicians who were glorifying him. As soon as Prachetas saw Lord Shiva, they immediately offered their obeisances in great amazement and fell down at the lotus feet of the Lord. Lord Shiva became pleased with the Prachetas because generally Lord Shiva is the protector of pious devotees and persons of gentle behavior. And he began to speak as follows. Lord Shiva said, you are all the sons of King Prachinabari. I wish all good fortune unto you. I also know what you are going to do. What were they going to do? They were going to do austerities for Supreme Lord. Therefore, I have become visible to you just to show my mercy upon you. Any person who is surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, the controller of everything, is actually very dear to me. A person who executes his occupational duty properly for 100 births becomes qualified to occupy the post of Brahma. This is where that point comes. And if he becomes more qualified, he can approach Lord Shiva. A person who is directly surrendered to Krishna or Vishnu in unalloyed devotional service is immediately promoted to spiritual planets. Lord Shiva attained these planets after the destruction of this material world. You are all devotees of the Lord. I appreciate you as you are respectable as the Supreme Personality of God Himself to me. I know in this way that the devotees also respect me and that I'm dear to them. Thus, no one can be as dear to the devotees as I am. So, like this, Lord Shiva keeps speaking to Prachetas. Please read this on your own. This comes in 4.24. So, this is the Rudra Gita. Then Rudra Gita will start. He'll start glorifying the Supreme Lord. Yes.
That time to 24, 25 only or 25?
No, for the whole chapter after that. Yeah. You can just recite the whole chapter after that. Okay. So then,
The name of the chapter is like
the song sung by Lord Shiva. Chanting the song sung by Lord Shiva. Okay. So then, what else? What other devotees from our tradition? Anybody can think of?
Arjuna.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yes, I'm sure many more we can come up with many more. My personal favorite is the pastime with Sanatan Goswami. So Sanatan Goswami was living at Govardhan. Okay, one of the at Govardhan, close to Radhakund somewhere, but at Govardhan. He was living next to which form of Lord Shiva? Okay. No. One more. Next one you'll get right. Chakleshwar Mahadev, right? So this is another important service of Lord Shiva. That Lord Shiva serves as a guard at each of these dhams of Krishna. So like at Vrindavan, he is as Gopeshwar Mahadev. In Govardhan, he is as Chakleshwar Mahadev. Nandgaon, he is situated as Nandeshwar Mahadev. In Mathura, he is situated as Bhuteshwar Mahadev. In Kamyavan, he's situated as Kameshwar Mahadev. Like that, there are so many. There are many, many more. There are Markandeshwar, Yameshwar. So Yameshwar is in Jagannath Puri. Markandeshwar also a different portion of Jagannath Puri, like that. So Chakleshwar Mahadev is in Govardhan. So Sanatan Goswami was living next to his kutir was next to Chakleshwar Mahadev. And when Sanatan Goswami used to do his bhajan, he was disturbed by a lot of mosquitoes there. So he decided, I'm going to leave this place. I'm going to go to some other place where mosquitoes will not disturb me. So when Mahadev used to relish Sanatan Goswami's bhajan, his chanting. He thought, oh my God, this Krishna's devotee is going to leave. So I will not be able to hear his nectarian bhajan anymore. So he told Sanatan Goswami, I'll take care of the mosquitoes. You just stay there. And even to this day, it is described there are no mosquitoes here. Like even within a short distance, it's like full of mosquitoes. But that place where Sanatan Goswami's bhajan kutir was, there is no mosquitoes there. So Sanatan Goswami is like that. So many. And then mercy on demons. So this is the Bhasmasur or the Vrikasur. Okay. So what did he want? He prayed to Lord Shiva and he prayed in a very tamasic way. Not prayed, like he did austerities in a very tamasic way. Is it possible to do austerities in a tamasic way? Yes?
There are so many times when people go on fire. With themselves and because they are thinking that helps them.
Or hitting themselves with hunter, right? So many things, right? So Krishna speaks about this in Bhagavad Gita. Everything can be, even charity can be in mode of ignorance, sacrifice, austerities, they can all be tamasic also. So we have to be careful. So he did very tamasic austerity. Like he was to the point he was cutting his flesh and offering to Lord Shiva. And finally, and Lord Shiva was not coming. Who is this fellow, right? Just doing whatever. And then he was going to chop his head off. So then Lord Shiva appeared. Okay, stop. And very reluctantly, he had to give him whatever he wanted. And what he wanted was, so he said, whenever I put my hand on somebody's head, I want that person to die, to blow up and die. Imagine this is such, like to put your hand on somebody's head is such a nice gesture, right? It is a sign of blessing. You're offering your blessing and it is an auspicious sign. So these demons, they made this into something very inauspicious. So I'll put my hand on somebody and that person will blow up. So then as soon as he got the boon, he started chasing Lord Shiva to put hand on Lord Shiva's head. Let me test, let me see if it works. And Lord Shiva started running. Now Lord Shiva does these weird things sometimes. Why do you think he does this? Like, to glorify the Supreme Lord. He ran all the way to the spiritual world to Lord Vishnu and he said, please save me from this fellow. He's chasing me. I gave him this boon because I had to. And now he wants to put his hand on my head and blow me up. So Vishnu said, okay, don't worry, I'll take care of it. So he came as a female, as a very beautiful lady. And he told Vrikasur, I don't trust this Shiva's bones and all. Don't believe in it. Sometimes they don't come true. I don't think yours is going to come true. It seems very far-fetched. It's not going to come true. So why don't you test it out before chasing this Shiva everywhere in all the three worlds? Why don't you test it out? Put it on your head. So he was so mesmerized at seeing this beautiful lady. Lord came in the form of this beautiful lady just on purpose so that he can be completely bewildered. So he forgot what he was doing. He put hand on his own head and blew up. And so this sometimes Shiva does these bewildering, confusing things. Like another pastime where a beautiful lady bewildered Lord Shiva. Who was that? And that pastime also comes in Srimad Bhagavatam, right? After churning of the ocean, the whole pastime comes where Mohini Murti comes. And Lord Shiva, the chapter is called Lord Shiva bewildered by Mohini Murti. So why does he do that? I mean, he's Ek Patni Vrat. He has, he's completely devoted to Mother Parvati. So he's the topmost householder. So how can he be attracted by or so confused by Mohini Murti? What is going on here? Yeah. Yeah, he wants to show that, only Lord Krishna in that form, another like girl, another female form, only Lord Krishna can be that attractive. Krishna means Sarvam Akarshati iti Krishna. So he attracts everyone. So he wants to prove that point. So Lord Shiva, being the father of this universe, sometimes sets these examples for the lower jivas that, hey, even I get confused by the women, but if I get confused, it's only for Lord Krishna. I'll only get confused by Lord Krishna. So he glorifies. This is beautiful, exchange between Krishna and his devotees. That Krishna wants to glorify his devotees. Like Krishna assumed the position of a charioteer in Bhagavad Gita. He didn't in Mahabharata. He didn't have to, right? It's a very low position, but he did that so that he can glorify Arjun and all his devotees. Rameshwaram, the example of yes, yes. I will not. There's so many stories, right? Our scriptures are full of Lord Shiva stories. But this is beautiful exchange. Shiva wants to glorify Krishna, and Krishna wants to glorify Shiva. So in churning of ocean, Krishna was getting all the credit, right? He was taking up so many, doing so many activities. So he wanted to prove to the world that this particular activity can only be done by Lord Shiva. So he gave that service for Lord Shiva to do. And whenever something very difficult or dangerous needs to be done, who takes care of that? Lord Shiva. Can anybody think of any other difficult service that Lord Shiva did, which was very heart-wrenchingly difficult for him? Churning of the ocean was actually, drinking the poison was not that difficult for him. His body is transcendental. So he drank up like ocean full of poison, huh? And that's why he's called Nilkant. There are many reasons why he's called Nilkant. It is said that he held the poison in his throat, so it turned blue. But there are some internal reasons also for that. He halal wish he drank, very willingly, no problem. But there was a service that he did which he was completely unwilling to do and which he regretted even after doing. What was that? Huh? I can't. Daksha? No, in the service, like a service that he was given by Supreme Lord to do. Did you say something wrong? Oh, I have the wrong picture. I'm just going. I didn't have time to organize my PowerPoints. I just came up with something, but okay, I'll show you the PowerPoint. So this is churning of the ocean. Okay, now you get an idea. Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya, very difficult service. So this service was personally given by Lord to Shiva, that you go as a very exalted Swami, sage, or renunciate and establish the Mayavad philosophy, the impersonalism, this Advaitwad in the world. So which means that everybody can become Supreme Lord, everybody is Brahman, Brahmasmi, all this, and take people away from the Supreme Lord. So there are many reasons why he did that. Sometimes Lord wants to separate devotees from proper devotees from non-devotees or impersonalists. So that was one of the reasons. But as we know, yes. Because he spread impersonalism. Impersonalism means that Lord has no form, that Lord has no personal exchange or emotions or loving relationships, that you just merge into the Brahman, you just merge into his effulgence, and that's the highest. Or you even have the power to become God. You can become God because you are Brahman, you are Brahman, so you can become God after this birth. Things like that. But his internal mood was what? His internal mood is displayed by some of his songs. Which famous song? Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Mood Mate. Somebody is speaking. Yes, Adi.
Sorry, Mataji, to speak. Sheetal from Zoom.
Yeah,
Oh.
little hard to
Okay,
hear.
so I was going to answer the question, like what was one of the most difficult things like that Shiva had to do and he regretted it after doing. I think it is like cutting off Lord Ganesha's head.
I don't know if that was a service. We're talking about service to the Supreme Lord. So this is a direct service to the Supreme Lord. So yeah, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Mudmate, Nam Smarnad Anyamupayam, Nahi Pashyami Bhavtaranam. Right? So Jagannath Ashtakam. Jagannath Ashtakam, I know. Madhur Ashtakam, I don't know. Jagannath Ashtakam, I know, is attributed to Adi Shankaracharya. I don't know about the other one, maybe, but Jagannath Ashtakam for sure is attributed to Adi Shankaracharya. Okay. Daksha pastime, we know. So Daksha, very important. There are many, many lessons in Daksha pastime. Very important lesson is this, that my personal favorite lesson. So when Daksha was blaspheming, offending Lord Shiva in that big assembly of saints and sages for a very small slight, right? He perceived it as an insult to himself. At that time, he said, really, like you read in Bhagavatam, horrible things to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva sat and listened to everything. He did not speak up for himself. He did not say anything. And when his followers and Daksha's followers started fighting, started arguing and fighting, there was a very obscene, it's a very bad scene or situation going on. So then Lord Shiva just walked out. And he just stayed away. He just stayed away from Daksha and his assembly's followers. He got angry when Mother Sati was insulted and got immolated, gave up her body after she basically burst into the spiritual transcendental fire. So then Lord Shiva got angry, then he destroyed Daksha. But when there was an insult to his own ego, a personal slight, right? So many times we have personal insults, personal slights, somebody says something wrong, something bad or insults us. He tolerated that. He showed the principle of tolerance, and he just maintained distance, right? So this is the something you can learn in your daily life also as a Vaishnav, that personal slights we can tolerate. But he did not tolerate when there was insult to Mother Sati and she killed herself, right? So then he punished Daksha. I have references, but I don't think we have time to open them. These are services of Lord Shiva, very important service. So we understood this service of Lord of churning of ocean where he drank poison. We understood this service where he's sitting as a guard outside all these dhams. Advaitacharya. Advaitacharya is none other than Sadashiv and Mahavishnu. So Advaitacharya in this Kali Yuga invited Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come, who is none other than Krishna himself. So he's one of the Panch Tattva. So nobody can say we do not worship Lord Shiva because we are worshipping him every day. As part of our Panch Tattva Mahamantra, right? Panch Tattva Mantra, right? And this service, everybody forgot this, the important service, he held Ganga on his head. So when Vaman Dev pierced the covering of the ocean, covering of the universe, and the causal water started coming in, that is Ganges, right? Basically, that flow of Ganges was so hard, it was so turbulent that it would have destroyed the whole material world. So that time, Lord Shiva carried the Ganges on his head. And what happened was, when he carried it on his head, the whole Ganges just disappeared within his jatai, within his matted hair. So then Mother Ganga said, okay, Shiva, please give me some outlet. I need to come out some. So then Lord Shiva just opened one of his braids, one of his jata, and that jata is the Ganga that even now we see the turbulent flow that is just coming from one jata of Lord Shiva. That is his decoration also, right? Ganga coming out of his head is his decoration also. That's all his decoration, right? Ganga coming out, snake, Chandra. There is I don't have time for this, but there is a beautiful pastime of Krishna. Radha Krishna were in Ras Leela, and Radha Rani started asking, when they're dancing, they're talking. So Radha Rani started asking Krishna about Lord Shiva. She said, tell me something about Shiv Tattva. So Krishna said, I cannot even explain to you. He's divine. I love him very much. He's transcendental. He's my topmost devotee. So Radharani said, okay, since you know everything about Shiva, tell me, I'll just tell you the questions. I will not go into answers. She said, why doesn't he wear a crown? Why does he live in Shamshan? Why does he have rakh or ash on his body? Why does he ride a bull? Why does he wear tiger skin? Or why does he sit on tiger skin? Something like that. Why does he have snake garland around his neck? Why does he have matted hair? And why is he offered dhatura flowers? I'll tell you, I think we covered almost everything. I'll tell you why he's offered dhatura flowers. Because he wants Krishna said, he wants all the fragrant flowers to be offered to me, and dhatura does not have a very nice smell, right? He said, I'll just take that one. Just leave that one for me. I don't want the fragrant flowers of this world because they should be left for the Supreme Lord. So this is the position of Lord Shiva. So we are talking about like a very, very, you know, exalted personality. There is hardly any words to describe him.
So talking about, we got Srimad Bhagavatam from him.
Yes. Oh, yes. Very wonderful. Shukdev Goswami. So, okay. And another bewildering thing Lord Shiva does, very confusing thing. This is described many times in Bhagavatam. When Lord Shiva is doing katha or when he's speaking, Mother Parvati is sitting on his lap. It is very confusing to the people. So, like Navya was asking, right? Why is he? Because he's a dhoot. He's not part of this world. So he doesn't have to follow the customs of this world. So he has Mother Parvati and he doesn't do katha for 1 hour like this. He does katha for like 6 hours, 12 hours. Bhagavatam katha is going on. He speaks to Mother Parvati like that. He has recited Bhagavatam many, many times over to Mother Parvati. And on one such occasion, what Shukdev Goswami came, Shuk is what, a parrot? He's a parrot of Radharani. So he heard Shiva narrating this Bhagavatam to Mother Parvati. And when he heard it, he saw that Parvati was asleep and this fellow was reciting the verses after him. Because he thought, why is Parvati's voice sounding different? He saw that Parvati was asleep and parrot is reciting. So he said, oh no, very ayogya, unqualified person has heard, because when Shiva speaks, it's a very different narration of Srimad Bhagavatam. So somebody unqualified has heard my like intimate, confidential ecstasies of my heart about the Supreme Lord. So he started chasing Shuka. And Shuka entered into the mouth of Vyasadev's wife. And that was Shukdev Goswami, who came after 16 years of pregnancy. And he gave us Srimad Bhagavatam. That's what Nagarjuna Prabhu is talking about. Other pastimes are there when he came to visit Krishna in Vrindavan, right? How they were crying for each other. Okay, in Bhagavatam, this is also significant pastime. Parvati was sitting on the lap of Lord Shiva. And who walked in? Chitraketu Maharaj. I think you guys just did the class on that recently in kids class. Chitraketu Maharaj. So sometimes Shiva does these weird things. Chitraketu Maharaj walked in. He was very surprised. Now, he was not really offensive. He just thought in his mind that only somebody as exalted as Shiva can have a lady sitting on his lap while he's sitting in an assembly of sages. Who else can dare to do that? Only Lord Shiva can do that. He just thought that, but Mother Parvati perceived that as an offense. So she cursed him and he became the demon Vritasur, the saintly demon Vritasur. So that whole pastime also comes in Bhagavatam. This is all from Bhagavatam. So this, Bhagavatam is a collection of stories, not only about Supreme Lord, but his devotees, Vaishnavas, and Lord Shiva is the best amongst them. And he's one of the 12 Mahajans, as we were discussing in Bhagavad Gita this morning. 12 Mahajans are there. He's one of the 12 Mahajans whose footsteps we follow. This is Ravan. Do we have time for one quick story about Ravan? Funny story. Okay. This is we have already talked about Sanatan Goswami. So I'll just tell you a funny story about Ravan. So, these demons, we were saying how they just want their personal benefits and they just want to enjoy. And there is no bigger lusty person than Ravan. Okay. So what did Ravan do? What did Ravan do? He prayed to Lord Shiva. Okay. He did so many austerities and he prayed to Lord Shiva and he pleased him. So he went to visit him and he saw Mother Parvati sitting next to him. Now he's so lusty. When he saw Mother Parvati, he thought, I want this lady. So he wanted Mother Parvati. He said to Shiva, give me your wife. So he took her on his shoulder and started walking away. Shiva had no choice. And now Mother Parvati, she started praying to Lord Vishnu. This fellow, whoever this ridiculous fellow is taking me, and I have no shelter. My husband is given. My husband is Bholenath, Ashutosh, Bhutnath. He has given me to this guy. And what should I do now? So Lord Vishnu, he came as a Brahman, as a Brahman child or Brahman. So he came to Ravan. He said, who are you carrying on your head? He said, don't you know? This is Parvati. Now she's going to be my wife. She used to be Shiva's wife, now she's going to be my wife. So Brahman started laughing at him. He said, Shiva pulled a fast one on you. This is not Parvati. What are you? I have seen Parvati so many times. This is some other lady. This is not Parvati. The real Parvati, Shiva had already hidden before you were coming. Shiva already hid him with the, can't remember the name of the saint.
But in the
Some saint.
in the underground world.
Some place he's hidden her. This is Chaya Parvati. This is not real Parvati. Go to this place and there you will find the real Parvati. So he quickly put Parvati down. Parvati went with Lord Vishnu, and this fellow went to that place, and that was actually Mandodari. So he never realized till his last day that he thought Mandodari was always Parvati. So he never realized till the last day that Mandodari was, Lord Vishnu tricked him like that. So, he was very lusty. It's described about him.
Yeah, he had the most collection of curses.
Yeah.
You know how we collect blessings? He used to collect curses, not by just because of being him. He was so offensive. He was so sinful. So
Sometimes we hear about these narratives that how these people about that Ravan was so good, Karna was, but we don't realize the other parts of this is not in this Kali Yuga. That's the thing that is glorified about them. But he was so lusty. He I don't want to go in details, but did so many wrong things.
I mean, Mother Sita. That's how right? Because he just wanted to enjoy.
Said that we took Mata Sita because the Ram had his house. And he wanted to get liberated and not killed by him. That's why that's what I thought.
That's a very roundabout. Naak ko aise pakdo na. Why are you holding it like this?
It's like he was in this Asura's one, right? So he cannot be the devotee. So he was doing obvious.
Prahlad Maharaj could be a devotee.
Yeah, Prahlad.
Bali Maharaj is Brali Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj, Vritasur.
His body was different. That he out of.
Mataji, so something to be very careful about. In modern world, these demons are glorified sometimes. Like people speak up in favor of Ravanas and all. We should accept very bona fide translations like given in Valmiki Ramayana or Tulsidas Ramayana. Go by Valmiki Ramayana or Ramcharitmanas and the interpretation given by the qualified Vaishnavas of qualified Sampradayas. Don't go by any random things here and there. Because the people tend to glorify Ravanas of this world. So they will use, yeah. In a way it is right that he wanted liberation. So in a way it is showing that he was a good, right? So that's
a great example of Gyani. It's a great example how Gyanis are not necessarily devotees.
Okay, one of the services I forgot about Lord Shiva. So there are 4 Vaishnav Sampradayas, and Lord Shiva is the chief of one of our 4 Vaishnav Sampradayas, Rudra Sampradaya, right? Okay. Let's do this verse and then I will stop. This verse comes in Churning of the Ocean when Lord Shiva, you can also read this tomorrow. So 8.7, Shiva is talking to Mother Parvati about why he would do this service of drinking the poison. Okay, how he wants to do this service, how he feels very inclined. He actually took her permission to do this. He said, do I have your permission? And then I will drink this poison. So this is the verse about it. Please recite, very beautiful verse. Tapyante lokatapena sadhava prayasho jana param aradhanam tadhi purushasya akhilatmana. So it is saying sadhu Tapyante lok tapena. They take voluntary austerities or suffering on themselves for the welfare of people, for the welfare of the world. Okay. Lok tapena, like for the suffering people of this world, sadhus take tap on themselves. Okay. This is basically describing his mood, that he wants to take this tap on himself, this poison on himself to relieve the suffering of the people of this world. Prayasho, pray. We say in Sanskrit, pray means always. Jana for Sadhu Jana, because this is the greatest form of worship to the Supreme Lord. Param Aradhanam Tadhi. of the Purusha, the Supreme Lord, who is Akhilatmana, who is the super soul within us. So this is the greatest form of worship of the Supreme Lord, the super soul within us, to take austerities for the welfare of the people of this world. Okay. So the translation goes like this. It is said that great personalities almost always accept voluntary suffering because of the suffering of people in general. This is considered the highest method of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is present in everyone's heart. So Lord Shiva is the greatest example of somebody of, tapyan tilap, lok tapena. So the main thing to understand about Lord Shiva is that we should approach him in proper mood. As devotees of Krishna, our mood is to approach him for service to the Supreme Lord, for devotional service, which Lord Shiva can grant. Just like any other Vaishnav, how would you approach a Vaishnav? You would approach them with bowed head, with great reverence. You would never insult or blaspheme them, right? So all this confusion, like when one time Prabhupada and devotees were walking and Shiva temple came and Prabhupada paid his obeisances. So devotees did not know any better because, we are people of this world. So we think that there is conflict between gods also, like, huh? So devotees asked Prabhupada, this is Shiva's temple. Why did you pay obeisances? So Prabhupada said, Vaishnava Nam Yatha Shambhu. I mean, this is the topmost Vaishnav. If some topmost Vaishnav come, even if not a topmost, any Vaishnav comes in front of me, I'm going to pay obeisances. This is Lord Shiva. What are you talking about? So we never, so the mood is not to ever blaspheme, insult. He's the father of this universe. He can give us bhakti, devotional service of the Supreme Lord. He has performed such exalted services, such dangerous, difficult services that nobody else was capable of. So we should ask for such sincere service attitude from him. Okay, this should be our mood. We should not approach him like the Ravanas of this world. We should not approach him like materialistic people of this world. We don't just want things of this world. We want the best thing. Okay, if you are the people of topmost consciousness, you are the front row in the class, right? You're the toppers of this materialistic world. Devotees are the toppers of this materialistic world. What do they want? They want 100% marks. For 100% marks means perfection of life, devotional service, pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So that's what you ask for. And so approach Shiva not independently, but in relation to the Supreme Lord. Do not try to imitate these great personalities. Also important point. Do not think that if he is drinking poison, I can do drugs or think. People do that. People do drugs and all in names of as being followers of Shiva. That's not the mood. You don't imitate great personalities. Mixed devotees. They're mixed devotees. They're not pure devotees. So they have many fruitive desires. They have many desires for personal enjoyments. Like Indra, for example, he often wants power or position, right? Lord Indra. So they're not pure devotees. That's why we do not really worship or approach pure demigods. In fact, we approach the pure devotees of our tradition, like Goswamis or Prabhupada or our Guru Varga, because we know they are pure devotees of the Lord. They have surrendered their life to the service of Supreme Lord. Which demigods are still doing their work. They're like us. They're still, doing things. Some things they keep for themselves. Some things they give to the Lord, like that. They recognize his authority, but they're not completely pure.
That's the difference between the Devatas and the Asuras. Asuras, they don't submit to the Supreme Lord. So when they're in trouble, they don't submit to the Supreme Lord. Whereas Devatas, they approach the Supreme Lord. So that's why, even though Lord says many times in Bhagavatam that I'm not partial, he still seems to be partial towards God, because as we just did the Yatanam Prapadyante Shloka in the Gita, they are approaching him. We will, at the start of Bhagavatam, we read like how Mother Bhumi was in pain, went to Lord Brahma, he with all the demigods, went to the Shiva ocean, and they prayed to the Lord. So because they approach the Lord, he helps them.
Any other questions? I know this was a lot to digest, but
Also thinking about
Mataji, the Shiva's Mahamantram, Sri Ram Ram Ram.
yeah, we can chant that. You want to chant that? He's okay. So another important quality of Lord Shiva is always chanting Lord's name. He's always chanting Lord's name. So Lord is in his heart. That is one of the reasons given why he did not want to drink the poison. He didn't want to put it inside, because Lord is in his heart. Many reasons are given for why he held it there. But yeah, Shri Ram Ram Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranam Tattulyam Shri Ram Nama Varaname. So these are the prayers. I had some slides about Sanatan Goswami's prayer in Hari Bhakti Vilas to Lord Shiva, Raghunath Das Goswami's prayer. So our acharyas pray to Lord Shiva in a very sincere mood, asking for devotional service. Anyways, I'll stop here. This is the portion I was talking about from Churning of Ocean, where he's speaking to Mother Parvati. So he says that how all these living entities are in great danger. It is my duty to give them protection and safety. They're struggling for existence. It is the duty of the master to protect these dependents. Devotees, because he's calling himself a devotee, even at the risk of their own lives, try to save them. So he said, my dear gentle Bhavani, when one performs benevolent activities for others, Supreme Lord Hari is very pleased. And when the Lord is pleased, I'm also pleased, along with all other living creatures. Therefore, let me drink this poison, for all the living entities will become happy because of me. So you see his mood? This is his mood, that I want to please Supreme Lord, satisfy him. Okay, we'll stop. Thank you everyone for joining. Mahashivaratri Mahamahotsav ki
Jai.
Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki,
Jai.
Jagat Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. Vancha Kaltarubhischa Kripasnidhubheva Padatanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for wonderful glories of hearing wonderful glories of